IVM.
Hey guys, even though Elon Musk is trying to turn everyone into robots, you'll be happy to know that very real human beings work at IVM Podcasts, and some of them are even cool. How do I know? Well, listen to their own podcast, IVM Likes, where they recommend what they are listening to, watching, or reading. Catch IVM Likes on iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And may I recommend the IVM Podcasts app.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Food Bulletin, where we talk about the news and the not news of the day. So these are things that have happened and some things that might happen, some things that probably will never happen, but either way, we talk about them.
Yes.
And that's why we're here.
And I'm not going to dispute that intro at all.
Thank you. What's up, Tejas?
I should. I really should.
Why should you? We're in a new era of bulletin intros. Now,
which is like just nobody cares anymore.
Well, essentially what this show is we
that nobody cares, you're right.
Yeah, we pick up a topic and then proceed to ignore it entirely.
That's fine. I think we're so far along the way now that we have our own show which doesn't really have to adhere to its logline.
Correct. But we do adhere to our logline because our logline covers everything.
Yeah, it's very...
So let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright are in talks for Matt Reeves' The Batman.
Yes, I heard about this.
So Jonah Hill might play the Penguin, apparently.
Well, I mean, I hate my brain for...
I also hate your brain.
No, just for thinking that that's the only character he could play because, like, that's the way he looks, like he could physically embody...
Man. Jonah's a fit boy.
He is a fit boy, but why is everybody thinking that he could only play the Penguin, huh?
Nobody said he could only play the Penguin. That's just a character that he's supposedly in talks for.
No, well, this is what the internet has done, which is that, oh yeah, he's obviously playing the Penguin. But I'm just like, he could play something else, like Harvey Bullock.
He could. Okay, First of all, this is the one in which Robert Pattinson is the Dark Knight.
Correct.
What do you think of that?
Of Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
He's amazing. It's going to be amazing. It's Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson and Andy Serkis. It's going to be excellent.
Bingo.
And I love Jonah Hill. I think he's a great actor. He does have his own kind of vibe.
The official, well, not the official, but the most reliable source that I can find says he would play a villain. Yeah. So you're right. Nobody said he's playing Oswald Cobblepot.
The internet comment section has already pigeonholed him as the Penguin. But I think he would be a great Riddler also. He could be a great Riddler.
You know what he couldn't be?
What?
An Alfred. I can't see him being calm enough to be an Alfred.
Also, I think they've always almost exclusively cast British actors as Alfred.
Yes.
So, I mean, I definitely cannot see Jonah Hill put on a
British accent. Yeah,
definitely.
Cannot even imagine it.
Yes.
Like he's Alfred.
Unless it's like in the movie, like a Your Highness kind of movie. You know, like where James Franco and Danny McBride will
have like
terrible
oddly British accents. Yeah. Okay. Jeffrey Wright is in talks to play James.
James, yeah.
James.
Perfect. So I always thought that, there's only like a 10-15 year difference between Gordon and Bruce Wayne. But I think they're sticking to the idea that he was just like, he was a cop when the Waynes were murdered. Yeah. So he has to be at least like 20 years older than Bruce Wayne.
True.
If that makes sense. So Jeffrey Wright is amazing, man. I love him. He's in Westworld. He's Casino Royale. He's done a bunch of really good... He's amazing.
He's great.
It's perfect. It's almost perfect.
He does have a very James Gordon kind of energy.
Exactly, yeah.
He can definitely nail that.
Yeah, he'll nail it. What else have we seen him in recently? I can't remember, man. Shit.
Westworld is the last thing I remember him from. Has he been in something recently?
Yeah. I can't remember.
Have you seen Westworld season 2?
No.
Yeah,
I think that was a good example of a show that could have ended after season 1 perfectly. It just needed to be a mini-series. After, like, Anthony Hopkins, if he's not there in the show, I'm just like, okay.
I feel like it still could be a very good show.
I'm sure, and people said it's good. It's got the season 3 as well coming out. So
really,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, we should watch it. But Jeffrey Wright is great. I love him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Is that all the Batman news?
Well, that's the Batman news as of now.
Okay.
The Batman news.
The Batman.
Yes. Unless you have more to say on the subject.
No, I do not. I do have some other casting news though.
Oh, tell me.
Jurassic World 3 brings back Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill.
Really?
So it's the first time a Jurassic Park film since the original has
all three
cast.
of them.
Yeah.
Interesting. But in what, like a glorified cameo, like the
Jeff Goldblum thing? But I think I hope not. I hope that they're all back again and together in the same scenes together. That would be great.
It's a Star Wars type scenario.
Yeah,
where
what's
they have
happening with
actual
Rise.
things to do in the plot.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be cool, especially since, a lot of people didn't like Fallen Kingdom, and I'm also mostly part of that crowd. But I do think that they did something quite cool with the ending of the film, which is that I don't know, this is not a spoiler, but, okay, I guess it's a spoiler. But,
But it's an old movie at this
it's
point.
an old movie, yeah.
Go for it.
So, like the title suggests, Jurassic World, it truly does become a Jurassic World, where now we're in a Planet of the Apes kind of situation. And very, like our previous episode, where we spoke about planning for the apocalypse, this is a great example of one.
Yeah.
A dinosaur apocalypse, where basically the world is overrun by,
I wonder how
reincarnated
their
dinosaurs.
characters could be of help, though, because they were they weren't even pioneers necessarily. Sam Neill's character
Actually,
had
all
unique,
three of them, yeah.
all three of them actually had unique knowledge at that point. But in the Jurassic World, where the world
That's
is
a good
in
question,
the Jurassic
yeah.
World series,
Yeah.
dinosaurs are commonplace. Anybody can handle a dinosaur. It's like if you call the guy who invented the first, or like if you say call the Wright brothers and said hey, handle these aeroplanes, they'll be like, what is going on? What is this thing?
But I don't think it's too different, because their aeroplanes have evolved.
Possibly
but in this
not
case,
too different,
Dinosaurs are still the same. I
Correct.
think they've
But
only
what I'm
kind
saying
of-
is that there are a lot more specialists in the area, so their knowledge,
Exactly.
unless they have something unique to offer that only they know from back in
You're
the day.
right. Why are they... why would they be the focus of the story? Unless they're trying to pull a Force Awakens and not a Rise of the Skywalker, where they are going to usher in a newer cast. Well, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard
are already there, and they've been running the show for 2 movies at this
It's
point.
interesting.
So
Unless
what would they
so
do?
What is this...
Even Jimmy Fallon hangs out with the dinosaurs in this world. So,
what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really? That's there in the movie?
well, Jimmy Fallon's in the movie, yes, though he doesn't
I can't
actually
remember
literally
it.
hang out with dinosaurs, but he's one of the faces of the park.
I
Of
see.
the world.
So they've basically, just usher in this era where dinosaurs are commonplace in the park, not in the outside world. So it's like going to Disneyland. If I want to go and see something at Disneyland, I physically have to leave and go there. So not the entire world, but it does exist, and it happens for a few years.
Yeah.
But now that Jurassic World is shut down, the park, it's just loose dinosaurs in the world. So that's kind of interesting as a starting point for this film.
It's
And
definitely
really-
interesting, yes.
And really changes it just changes the way the stories have to be told. Now they don't have to be basically like surviving an island. They have to basically survive a world of dinosaurs, which is nice. I like that.
Let
It'll
me
be like Planet of the Apes.
What?
Yeah. It'll be like Planet
It'll
of
be
the
like
Apes.
Planet of the Apes, which is great, of course.
Amazing, yeah.
Now, let me tell you this. The crossover event that is happening in the, what do you want to call it, the CW-DC universe, the DC-CW universe, the DCW universe,
Wait, what?
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah.
So that's where all the CW,
DCEW.
the DCW,
Okay.
where all the DC-CW shows, which
the
is like,
Arrowverse.
is it still the Arrowverse, man?
So apparently people still call it that. Like it's
Really?
because that was the show. That was the show that
But that
started it.
arrow has left its quiver.
But like it's like how Iron Man is the most important person.
Yeah, but
in
you
the
don't call
Marvel-
it the Iron Man verse.
Well, it's called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and but Iron Man did start, even though he's not really the principal character of the comic books. Like in the comic books, you'd say Spidey is probably the
Yeah,
lead.
but the same way, you wouldn't call this the Arrowverse just because he's the guy who started it. It's still the DC TV verse.
Well, Arrowverse is simpler to say.
All right. In the Arrowverse, there's going to be a crossover event called
Correct.
Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Yes.
based on Crisis of Infinite Earths, of course.
Yeah.
Now, casting news from that.
Yes.
Smallville's Tom Welling will be joining.
Yes, we briefly talked about that. Jishnu and I did, but we weren't sure back then if Tom Welling was going to be cast.
Apparently he's on now.
So now he's
and
on.
this brings the total of Clark Kents up to 3. Because in the current
Yes.
universe,
Yeah.
Tyler
Hecklin. Yes.
Tyler Hecklin,
Yeah.
who's the worst.
He's great.
He's the worst if you like go to a gig with him, he's just like, hey, what's happening on stage and stuff. He's Tyler Hecklin.
Got it.
Anyway. Like a
Why does
comedian
he
just...
sound like that?
Because he's
I'm Superman and hey, what's happening?
Hey, what is happening,
That's
man?
how he goes to Zod.
You're not funny.
He's like, but
Play Freebird.
I think he's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
I think he's funny actually, and
he's a pretty nice Superman.
Yeah,
he's a very
Superman.
like classic in the mold of a Christopher Reeves kind of a Superman.
I was thinking he's a great TV Superman. Like he's like a Dean Cain kind of like relatable Superman.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like that classic like symbol of goodness kind of Superman.
Are you watching Supergirl?
No.
It's on season 5 now.
I know. I lost. Like
Actually, I
I
really liked
stopped
it.
half. I know it was the nicer show, but also there's just too much of it,
It's way
man.
too
So
much. Way,
season
way.
5 at this point, I have no idea.
How much is that? 5 into what? 22 episodes? Fuck.
Of an hour,
That's
or like
nuts.
45 minutes.
Yeah, 45
So
to
that's a lot.
60 minutes.
A lot to get through. That's why I stopped watching because I really like Supergirl.
Yeah, Supergirl was great. Even Flash
Which is
was decent.
where Tyler Hoechlin was introduced.
Yeah.
He just came into the show and he was like, "What is this, man? Supergirl, I don't know anything." Anyway,
Why are they all like? Why does it sound like he's like from Bangalore or something?
maybe he is.
Anyway,
Superman.
very good.
Okay, so that's Clark Kent number 1,
Mm-hmm.
right? Number 2 is Brandon Ruth.
Yes,
Who will also be playing, like, essentially
He's good, yeah.
reprising his
but he's also
former
playing
glory.
Atom as well.
He is playing Atom as well, so I'm not sure how this would work, especially because we have no idea what's going on in this universe. But
They can use CGI and bring 2 of him on screen.
yeah, but how would this be explained? That is in a
It's
parallel
Infinite
Earth,
Earth,
he
yeah.
becomes Clark Kent, huh?
No, in a parallel Earth, he's that guy just looks like Clark Kent.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Which is something that's happened in The Flash repeatedly.
Yes.
With Tom Cavanagh's many characters at this point.
And his dad, Barry Allen.
And with his dad, Barry Allen.
Sometimes he's Jay Garrick, and sometimes he's just.
Sometimes
Henry
he's a
Allen.
jazz singer, if I remember correctly.
No, that's this guy. Jesse L. Martin is.
Yeah.
No,
Who is-
not that. Not his foster father. His incarcerated.
Oh, his
father.
dad.
Yeah, Henry
who
Allen.
was Henry Allen, who was
Yeah.
the original Flash.
Yes.
All right. Then there is who's the third? Oh yeah, the third. The third is Tom Welling.
Yeah, but
with
apparently
whom we started this
but
conversation.
I have some controversy to discuss regarding this.
controversy away.
And the crisis of controversy. There is a request that was put out on the internet that they wanted to see the best part about Smallville, which was Michael Rosenbaum,
Okay.
who plays Lex Luthor in
Who
that
put
show.
out this request? The fan community.
The fan community. They all wanted to see Rosenbaum back as Lex Luthor because he was amazing. Incidentally, also as a piece of trivia, Michael Rosenbaum voiced the Flash for the entirety of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited shows. But blah, blah, blah. They wanted him back. But he put out a tweet saying, essentially, and I paraphrase that, they called me and they said, hey, we need to know if you want to be part of the Infinite thing. They didn't talk pay, they didn't talk how much commitment, they didn't give a script, they didn't give any kind of sense of direction to what the show's going to be like.
Yeah.
But they were like, we need to know right now. And it's a yes or no. If you're not part of it, you're not part of it. And he's like, dude, that doesn't, and because he had to explain why he wanted to explain to his fans, saying why he was not going to reprise his role. And basically he's like, dude, just check this out. This is how the situation occurred. And I couldn't say yes. I had to say no because I don't know in what capacity they might use me. And so I said no. And it seemed fair.
That's fair enough. I don't necessarily blame the production also in this case.
But, for me...
They were probably reacting very late to something that came up because of fan demands, and they were like, let's try and do it, but the only way we can do it is if we know right now.
How can you not do it without an inclination of what the show is going to be like? What if it's like... I mean, he needs to know how much he's going to get paid. He needs to know how much he's going to be involved. And shooting schedules and all that stuff might clash. I don't know why I'm going into his personal life, but that's really what it's about. It's like, you can't say yes.
Yeah.
As content creators ourselves, this is something that we wouldn't stand for really getting into a project. So it's like...
probably not.
It's just like he was just looking out for himself. He's like, yo, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And he felt, he should answer his fans about that.
I'm guessing the production was reacting very late, and they were essentially going like, well, either you say yes right now and it happens, or it doesn't happen. And it was probably going to be some sort of glorified cameo because things were locked
begs
already.
The question, how much of all this fan amazing service and casting is going to be just glorified cameos or actual roles in the show and having them do things and things like that.
I feel like a lot of it would be essentially glorified cameos, no? But there is the fact that in this, in the Arrowverse, the CW DC verse, the DCW verse, there is enough space to kind of get into stuff. Like you could bring in a new character and then you have like 4 episodes of 50 minutes to hang out with them. So you can actually develop something.
But this is just a 4-episode crossover series. Like it's not...
That's fairly hefty. That's a lot of material.
That is true.
That's like at least...
But man, if you know the comic, it's insane. The story is like really, really vast, man. There has to be the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, all of those characters are there. There's so much stuff happening in these in this arc that 4 episodes. It's like, you know, how they tried to adapt Dark Phoenix twice. And it's difficult, man. Dark Phoenix is arguably as big a saga as the Infinity War saga. So you needed that time. Basically, they needed to set it up from the first film for it to work in the last one. But they do it in one film. And here, similarly, if they do it over the course of 4 episodes, I don't know if it's going to be long enough. We all know it's not going to be good.
Why?
Because these shows are notoriously like...
They're not bad. They're they have very different aims. What are you comparing them to?
No, but I'm saying like, you know, there's they keep doing this thing. I remember this past crossover event that we saw, which was between just 2 shows at the time, Flash and Arrow.
Yeah.
And it was mostly just... For 20 minutes, it was characters catching up and just like laying down exposition for the people who came from a different show to watch that show.
Yeah.
Like, I was not following Arrow and they were like, oh, what's happening? Oh, yeah. Didn't I see you in the last one? Weren't you doing that? Oh, yeah, we patched up. All that shit. So it's going to be...
That's what it was built for. It was built with the idea that you would introduce characters from one show onto another show and then people of the other show.
Well,
yeah, which is not what's happening now, I think. That model worked for them so well that they started making crossover events their own unique thing. Because this crossover that you're talking about was way back in the day.
Yeah.
Then
they made the Aliens one,
correct.
Which was the 4
show
shows.
like Legends of Tomorrow is essentially when they spun off a crossover event into its own show.
Yeah, that's true.
They just went like, fine, let's take all these cool dudes from The Flash and like make a thing with them.
Well, yeah, a few of them, yeah.
A few of them, and a few of them from Arrow, and a few new guys. But essentially a spin-off that was a crossover event to start with.
Yeah, true. Fair enough. I don't know. I'm still excited for it. I don't think it's going to be particularly like great. It'll be great to see Kevin Conroy as Batman. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to that. I wish they would just cast Mark Hamill already as the Joker. It would be excellent. And the Trickster, where he's been in it before, so I don't see why now is a reason to like be shy about that kind of thing. They should just go for it. But he's probably really expensive, and that's probably it.
He'll say no when they call him. It's like, hey, Mark Hamill, we need to know right now, and he's like, nope.
Yeah, exactly. All his agents will just be like, this guy's in Star Wars, right?
He is Star Wars.
He literally is Star Wars.
Mark Hamill in and as.
His name is in the title of the film.
It's true.
So, yeah, anyway.
Or is it his name?
The Rise of Mark.
All right. This has been the Geek Food Bulletin.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you enjoy listening to content on the IVM Podcast Network, let me tell you about a couple of things that you should check out this week. On the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, Ashwin and DJ conclude the Ashes and talk about the failure of Indian middle order in the T20s. On Geek Fruit, Dinkar and Jishnu talk about pop culture that revolves around the apocalypse and tell us how they would ideally prepare for it. On Varta Lab, Akash and Naveen are joined by Shashwat Bulusu, a singer-songwriter from Baroda who is pushing the sonic aesthetic of guitar-centric laid-back pop. On Advertising is Dead, Varun is joined by singer-songwriter Ankur Tiwari, who talks about how artists find new forms of expression and monetize their work. On Ganatantra, Alok and Saryu are joined by Smitana Saikia of Flame University, Pune, to talk about the history and impact of the NRC list and how it has caused marginalization in the Northeast. Thanks, and we hope to see you again soon.
Hey guys, this is me, Eva Bhatt, your host for the podcast 9XM Soundcast. This podcast is produced by India's largest music network, 9X Media. We have been catering music and you have been enjoying. And now we bring you a podcast where music inspires. Every week, I interact with some of the best minds from the music industry to understand their creative discipline. Every new episode will feature artists who will share inspiring notes from their journey, some valuable tips for budding artists. So do subscribe to the podcast where music inspires. Enjoy a brand new episode of 9XM Soundcast every Tuesday on IVM Podcast app or website or wherever you get your podcast from.